Welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall. It's no secret that Louisiana has some trying financial times ahead. Often legislators have to look for ways to cut certain programs throughout the state, and unfortunately, higher education is not a sacred cow. When we come back, we'll tell you how a special foundation is literally trying to bridge the financial gap to make sure that students at a local college can continue to attend classes. We'll be right back.
Fridays at 7 p.m. on LAE.
Welcome back. Delgado Community College now has the distinction as being the second largest higher education institution next to LSU. For years, the school has had a foundation made up of businessmen and women who truly get involved to help ensure students are not caught between a rock and a hard place to pay their tuition. The biggest fundraiser to help in this regard is a celebrity roast.
Stephen Perry is, the man is a walking roast. He has been a great friend and mentor to me, an incredibly rich personality, an incredibly talented leader, an incredibly enthusiastic storyteller and raconteur. And so, yes, I just need to think back on the times that I've spent with Stephen here and abroad, and there is a lot of material. This is going to be a barn burner. I mean, look, the roast is where fun and philanthropy meet, and I think that this year is going to be exceptionally good.
This is a fundraiser for the college, especially now with all the funds that are being cut at the state. The students really need to have some way to be able to complete their education. So we take these funds and we use them to provide scholarships for the students. And we will tie in this year, because we always tie in something to the person that we roast, we will tie in a scholarship to to students who are in this program, hospitality management at the college. It's totally put on by the foundation. It's not part of the college, but all the funds are turned over to the college and once everything is done. So it's a fantastic event, and I really hope that people can come out.
The economy of Greater New Orleans is one of the fastest growing in the country, and because of that, there's an enormous need for qualified workers. Delgado is probably the most important source for those workers. It is actually the second largest school in Louisiana, second only to LSU in total enrollment. And for us at G&O Inc., a Delgado that is properly funded, that is putting out the quantity and quality of students that our businesses are demanding, is a non-negotiable. It's essential. So Delgado is a critical partner for G&O Inc. and the whole regional economy.
The president and CEO of the New Orleans Convention and Visitors Bureau, as they said, Stephen Perry, is going to be thrown into the oven, so to speak. So for this year's roast, it should be a lot of fun, and it'll be put on by the Delgado Community College Foundation at Harris Casino Theater. And you must be 21 to get in, by the way. Moving on now to Junior Achievement. Junior Achievement is the largest organization in the world dedicated to giving young people the knowledge and skills they need to be successful in life. Basically, they use firsthand experience to inspire kids to dream big and reach their potential. JA of Greater New Orleans has been around for about 60 years now. We had a chance to sit down and do an in-depth interview with the new president of the New Orleans JA, Larry Washington, about the organization's mission, programs, and a vision toward the future. Here's Larry's interview.
One of my top goals here is to ensure that we are seen as the go-to resource in this area as it relates to those three key areas of financial literacy, workforce readiness, and entrepreneurship. And you may ask yourselves, well, how do you do that with kids as young as kindergarten? We do it in a really cool way, I think. We take those concepts that on the surface are really large, and we put them on a microscope for those little kids. So when you think about kindergarten, those kids are learning to identify money. They're learning to understand the value of savings. What makes Jay even better than that is, even though we're talking about these real life things, everything that we do is a direct correlation to what kids should be learning or are learning inside of their classrooms. So it takes what they're learning and it allows them to see the real life applicability. And that happens throughout the experience from kindergarten through 12th grade. once we get past those elementary age kids, we really start to focus on careers and how do we get young people to identify what careers fit best with them, where are the opportunities for them to go into careers, and then how do they prepare for it. So then we become more of a supplement to career and technology in economics. There are a ton of kids right here in Orleans Parish in the city of New Orleans who are traditionally, as we call it, underserved. And what I do know is that we can impact those young people, mainly because the things that we teach young folks allows them to shift the attitudes and behaviors they have toward education. And when you think about those students who are typically underserved, they have a hard time understanding that value of education because they live in the right now and they are living to survive, so to speak. And so they're not thinking about what these future outcomes can be. JA can do that. And so what we've done since I've been here is shifted our focus, not necessarily shifted what we do, but when we think about how to impact more kids, when we think about where we grow, that's going to happen right here in Orleans and Jefferson parishes, specifically with those kids who are traditionally underserved. And so in shifting that focus there, we're going to do a couple other things. One, we're going to focus on middle and high school students. When we think about the end results of JA, those are the kids who can respond the most to it. Those are the kids who can benefit the most from it. You think about the decisions they have to make now, as far as when kids get to high school, they have to choose a career path. We know they're not prepared for that. We can help prepare them for that. But beyond that, again, the ultimate goal for me personally is to shift how these young people see education and how it relates to their future. And I'll add one more thing to that. In my research here in New Orleans, one of the things I found really troubling was a statistic about Opportunity Youth. And if you're familiar with that, Opportunity Youth are young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who are neither working or employed. And if we're going to be really honest about that, those young people are disproportionately African American men. And so what I know is, based on my own experiences with JA, that we can impact those young people in a way to, one, get them to stick with school, and then have them identify careers that they can be into post-school so they don't longer fall into that category. You think about the economic impact that has on the city. If you have so many young people not working, not employed, crime is going to go up. It's going to be a bigger burden financially on other taxpayers, and we can be a part of being a solution for that. JA is open to any and everybody. We don't qualify students or school based on any needs or lack of need. JA is something that's for everybody. So if there's a school that is willing to provide the time for volunteers to come into the classroom, then we would do all we can to work with that school. I guess the caveat or the little asterisk on that is, in order for us to do what we do, we've got to have the resources, meaning we've got to have the volunteers who can go inside of the classroom. So if I'm going to be honest with you, that's what truly dictates where we go and where we can be. So we partner with companies who, one, have a culture of volunteering, and I wish so many more companies would have that type of culture, particularly in a city like New Orleans. So we partner with companies who will allow the time for their employees to go into the classroom. I think that's so important for a couple of reasons. One, when you think about filling this future pipeline of business folks, entrepreneurs, et cetera, you've got to have people in front of them who can share their experiences and kind of get kids on board that way. The next place we kind of look to for volunteers, and we're trying to do a better job of this, is partnering with the universities. The best example, particularly for kids who are traditionally underserved, and I like that saying, traditionally underserved, are to have examples like college students who can go in and say, this is what I'm doing, you can do it too. So we go there. Beyond that, it's any and everybody who is willing to give their time, who is willing to share their experiences, both from a standpoint of success and failure with young people. Any of those folks can be volunteers. The thing I love about New Orleans is that it feels like a place with purpose. You feel like you can have impact. So that encourages me, and I like that first. When you say, what do I want my legacy to be here? I would say in short that I help change the lives of young people. I believe we can do that. I know we can do that because as a young person myself, I remember going through junior achievement, and I didn't have the best upbringing. I didn't have parents who went to college. I didn't have those type of examples. But I had a JA volunteer who came into my classroom every week. He was a guy, and he wore a suit every week. And I remember seeing him each week and saying, I want to be like that guy. And I knew then that whatever I did, I wanted to wear a suit to work every day. And because of that experience with JA and that volunteer, I started to make different decisions. I started to do things differently. And so I know we can have that impact. And so for me, when we talk about underserved youth, and particularly the fact that a place like New Orleans is overwhelmingly African American and overwhelmingly disadvantaged African Americans, if I can say I had a hand in influencing how those young people thought, if I had a hand in introducing them to opportunities that they otherwise would have never thought of, I think I would have left a pretty good legacy here.
Junior treatment, great program. Well, now it's time for our Ask Ashton segment. Community leader Ashton J. Ryan Jr. answers questions from Money Talks viewers. This month, Richard Hill from Luling asked, what's his take on the creation of the numerous charter schools since Hurricane Katrina, and whether they are helping to improve education in the metropolitan area? Here's Ashton's answer.
The charter school system has been a great addition to our provision of education to our kids. I don't pronounce it as a panacea. I don't say we've cured all of our problems. We certainly have made progress in that scores have improved, kids' ability to find jobs and to go on to get higher education has been improved. So I do think it's the right start. We have a long, long way to go. Louisiana is still one of the worst states for education in the country, and you know, New Orleans has always been the lowest part of the Louisiana chain. So I really believe that we've got a long way to go. We should feel comfortable that we've already licked the issue. We haven't, but I still think there's a good opportunity to build on what we've gained over the last several years with charter schools, and also make sure we reform our education boards and public boards to provide the right education and focus and do it in a cost-effective way.
Okay, Richard, so I hope you got your question answered. And for those of you who want to write in to Ashton, you can always go to our Money Talks page here on Money Talks with Ed Marshall. We'll be right back with more.
Watch WLAE Digital Broadcast Channel 32.3 for Catholic TV, offering programming relevant to Catholic viewers, including live religious services, Vatican events, talk shows, devotional programs, educational entertainment, and children's programs.
Well, welcome back to Money Talks. We're making lemonade out of lemons, of course, and I've just got a nice little brew here going. But I want to tell you why we're talking about lemonade, because there's a very special day called Lemonade Day coming up next month. Joining me here to tell us more about that is Miss Marlena Joseph. She's gotten married since the last time she was on the show. Mitchell,
yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
And she's going to tell us about Lemonade Day and how it came to be and how it involves so many young people in terms of becoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lemonade Day Louisiana was brought here in 2010 by entrepreneurs. I'm sure you know them, John Georges and Todd Graves, who is
I think so.
a little bit, right? Todd Graves is the CEO and founder of Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Mm-hmm. And so in 2010, we started that first year with 3,000 kids. So fast forward 5 years, we're in our 6th year this year, and 75,000 kids across Louisiana have been entrepreneurs and participated in the program. This year alone, which is our biggest to date, we expect 20,000 kids to open businesses on Lemonade Day, which this year is Saturday, April 30th.
Right. You told me you just got back from Homa, so,
Yeah.
so you're involving kids all over the metropolitan area.
Yeah, absolutely. So for New Orleans, obviously the program was started, we started in New Orleans and Baton Rouge in 2010. Mm-hmm. So we expanded statewide because everybody was like, hey, this is such a cool program. We want to bring it to our schools. I mean, because it teaches kids the epitome of what they should do to successfully run a business.
Right. So tell us about it. So they get their,
Yeah.
they actually get their stand, and walk me through it.
Okay, so here's the process. So you register online. Okay. Now, everybody go register at louisiana.lemonadeday.org. Okay. So once you register, you take your registration packet, you bring it to any Raising Cane's, because obviously they're a huge sponsor and partner with us. And so you bring it, you get your free backpack. A backpack contains workbook, entrepreneurship materials, and then after that, it gives you everything you need to get set for Lemonade Day, which is Saturday, April 30th. So we're about 30 days out from the big event. Yeah. So kids all over, you go register at Raising Cane's, pick up at Rouse's. We have so many partners. And then after that, you just do your thing. We ask kids to spend a little, save a little, and share a little.
That's
so
right.
basically, you become a little investor.
And
yeah.
then they can take their money and do what they want after it's over? Or-
Yeah, absolutely. So how it's supposed to work is if mom, dad, or grandma or whomever help you get the money to get all your cute products for
Right,
your
right,
lemonade,
right.
and then after that, your proceeds, your profit that you make on Lemonade Day, you pay them back.
Pay them back.
Pay
Gotta
them
do
back.
that. Right,
Be a good
right.
investor.
Exactly.
Pay them back. Also, open up a youth savings account. We want them to save the money. And then also, a lot of kids pick charities. So kids have SPCA. They're a great partner. If they want to donate to a lot of the Cancer Society.
Yeah.
So anything that a kid wants. And of course, the youth savings account is to open up and
Exactly.
get whatever they want.
Well, that's pretty
so
cool because in my other life, I'm a banker and a business development person at a local bank. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So they can, and it also teaches them about how to save money.
Yeah, that's the biggest important thing. As a kid, I was Miss Spender. Didn't really quite get a chance to do that part. So I'm glad that my niece and nephew who've been participating in the program get a chance to know what it means to save money and, of course, pay mom back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, what ages are we talking about?
So Lemonade Day is for children ages 4 to 18.
Okay.
So as little as the preschoolers to even the high school seniors. You're not too cool if you're a high school senior to open up a lemonade stand. So it's statewide. You can register everywhere.
Okay, and they'll have that little certified thing that they are a registered lemonade. Because, some people might try to get in on the action.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So they have that little
They
certified.
have all of their stuff, and the backpack contains really cool and cute things that they can use on their stand.
Okay.
And so, like in New Orleans specifically, it's always the second weekend of Jazz Fest. So we tell everybody that the kids do all the work, but on Saturday, go support them.
Yeah.
You might get a sugar overload a little bit that day,
Right.
but make sure you visit them because they work so hard. So they really depend on the community. So everybody's encouraged on it across the state.
And you all have gotten a lot of corporate people, and this year, my old friend Bosley Bollinger is the chairman of Lemonade Day, and it was good to see him out for the news conference. So, give us your personal perspective when like for your nieces and nephews, what is it like for you to see them actually do something in a program that you're involved in and see them grow?
Well, my niece and nephew are 11 and 8, so when Lemonade started, they were little bits, But their faces of going through the backpack, going through everything, learning the lessons. Of course, as they get older, they understand it and appreciate it more.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, like my niece one year she was into Frozen, so she had a Frozen theme stand. My nephew was into Cars and SpongeBob. So, and they just set up, and then also not just lemonades. Kids are entrepreneurs. We had brownies, we had cookies, and across the state. So, those are the fun things. So just really seeing them work hard and people supporting them.
And we're about to wrap up. So tell us again, where can they go on that website? What is it?
Louisiana.lemonadeday.org. You can go on our site. Also, check us out on social. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram under Lemonade Day Louisiana.
Sounds good. Well, there you have it. We'll be back with more. I'm going to drink some lemonade until we come back. Stay tuned.
Wednesdays at 11 p.m. on LAE.
We extend our congratulations now to the New Orleans Young Leadership Council as it celebrates 30 years of developing leadership through volunteer-created community projects. The nonprofit has over 1,500 member volunteers and is the oldest independent young professionals organization in the country. YLC President Calais Waring talks about the organization and the many community projects it undertakes.
Well, we have 15 different projects, which makes us pretty different from other nonprofit organizations. So many focus on one, and they do it really, really well. We have 15, and we do those very well. So it's difficult to talk about all of them, but I can tell you about a few that are going on now. Our Recreate program is extraordinary. It's one of our oldest projects here in the city. It's been going on for, I think, about 15, maybe 16 years. And for the spring and fall terms, students meet kids from the ages of 5 to about 12 to 15 years old, meet every Saturday, and get to be mentored by young leaders in the city, doing everything from hula hooping and playing basketball to discussions about character and character development, but in a really fun, enriching way. The goal with that program is just to keep them engaged. on a Saturday afternoon when, you know, goodness knows what they might be doing. It's a great opportunity. We have some kids who've gone through the program who've come back to actually be project leaders and mentors. So it works really, really well for us. We also have YLC Kicks, which is huge and has gained national and international attention in the last 2 years. It's a soccer program here in the city, and I think this year we'll sign up close to 600 students. It launched a couple of days ago for our spring session, and there were, I think, 90 kids at Joe Brown Park the other night, and about another 25 have signed up. We are looking for volunteer coaches for that program. So if anybody's interested, you don't have to know how to play soccer. Just come at it and do it. It's exceptional. We also have a Power Ties program that's extraordinary. It's a career development program for students. For 8th grade students here in the city, we partnered with First Line Schools, and it does everything from teaching them how to write a resume, to go through a job interview, you know, and what to do with your first check when you finally make it from that first job. One Book, One New Orleans is extraordinary. Everybody loves it. It's an opportunity for the city to get behind one piece of literature and what that does from a community standpoint, and then also from a literacy perspective, is really extraordinary. I could go on forever about those, but those are some of our hot projects right now. Well, I think everybody's familiar with the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation. That started as a YLC project. So the way our projects work, young individuals come to us with great ideas. They see a need and we figure out how to fill a need. If we determine that this particular project can be sustainable, they come to us, we help to incubate it, help to fundraise for it, and it stays kind of underneath the Young Leadership Council umbrella, so we can sort of be a model for the leadership development, the volunteer recruitment. The goal, obviously, is for it to spin off and become its own nonprofit. Then we've done something extraordinary, it goes out. So the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation was a project of the Young Leadership Council several years ago. Youth Run NOLA is an incredible project right now, similar to our other recreation and athletic projects. This is for young students who've probably never run a mile before in their lives, but now they get to do it with an entire team. And what that does for personal development and character development is incredible. And now they're their own nonprofit and doing very, very well. At the Square, we call it Watts. We've got this army of volunteers who put together the kickoff to the festival season in the city of New Orleans. We're out at the Square at Lafayette Square on St. Charles Avenue, and it is our largest fundraiser. So every beer, every glass of wine, every margarita, every crepe that you buy from the food vendors, all of that money goes right back into our projects. We are thrilled to have so many sponsors out there this year. First NBC Bank, the Pain Intervention Center, several others. But it's a 12-week concert series, and I think we have maybe 10 concerts left to go. We'll go until June 2nd, if it doesn't rain. We don't think it will. And it's just an extraordinary experience. It's a great time to take a break in the middle of the week. Everybody comes down from their offices and listens to some tremendous music. I mean, I think we have close to 6,000 to 8,000 people there every single week, depending on the band. But there's still room to move. You know, you kick off your shoes and you walk around in the grass, and it's a really good time. Anybody that you talk to in a purple t-shirt, that is a YLC volunteer. You'll probably see about 200 of them out there. But I recommend you take a look at find the membership tent on the grounds, sign up, learn about our projects there. But beyond just that, go to ylcnola.org. You can learn about all of our projects, all of our sponsors, the great things that we've done, and what we have planned for the future. The beauty of the Young Leadership Council is that it's available to people from all walks of life. When you're at a point in your life when you're kind of tired of thinking about yourself and you want to dig in and do something a little deeper, you can volunteer for 1 hour a month, 1 hour a year, or end up like me and being in this organization for 8 years now. It becomes rather addictive, and it's very simple to do great things for the rest of this community and make yourself feel good while you're doing it and meet some extraordinary people. It's a lifelong experience.
I tell you, it is a wonderful organization. I was once a Young Leadership Council person myself when I was a bit younger. Well, let's move on now to energy. The hot summer months will be here before we know it, along with higher electricity bills from running air conditioners and all kind of other things. There are, however, some steps we can take to lower those bills. Alex Scott with Energy Smart here in New Orleans talks about some energy-saving programs offered by his organization and also some things we can do on our own to cut down on our electricity bills.
City rates in Louisiana and Orleans Parish are some of the lowest in the country. However, New Orleans residents and Louisiana residents have some of the highest electricity bills in the country just because of, because it's Louisiana. It's a very humid climate, it's a very hot climate, and we're typically running our air conditioners throughout more times of the year than any other place in the country. So what Energy Solutions and Energy Smart do is provide dollars to help install energy efficiency measures in your home, provide accredited contractors to be able to come out and provide an energy assessment, which I'll get into it in a second. And then they'll take a look at what the lowest cost, highest return energy efficiency investment that you can make in your home is, and then they can do that work for you. So when a contractor will come to your home, they'll do an energy assessment. They'll take a look at the level of insulation in your attic. They can install what's called a blower door, which basically pressurizes your house to see where, when that conditioned air is being generated by either your air conditioner or your furnace, where that's escaping out. They can also test your ductwork, because if the ductwork that feeds into your house is in an unconditioned part of your house, like in your attic, that's basically leaking to the outside. They can then make recommendations of what the most cost-effective and kind of the biggest bang for the buck thing will be for you. Make those installations for you. In some cases, the incentives that are provided by the program, like we actually provide dollars for the program, will cover that in cost completely. In some cases, the contractor will charge a little bit additional cost on top of that to, for if they're installing insulation, for example, just because it's a high material cost. And then over time, you should see a very significant savings on your energy bill. And in most cases, after you've made this investment, your investment will start to pay off typically within right around the 5-year mark, depending on the state of your home. There's a couple really easy things that you can do too if you want to start saving energy today. The first is, if you have a programmable thermostat, program it. Set your temperature points, based on when you're going to be in the house, out of the house, a little bit higher for when you're out. You can set it so it starts cooling before you get home. Typically, some range between 72 and 78 degrees is the best way to set your thermostat. Always change your furnace and your AC filters in your home, because if you don't change those on a regular basis, they make your machines work harder, they make them draw more energy, and they can actually impact how long your machine actually lasts. So you're having to make a big investment in a new central air conditioner a little bit sooner than we had to, had you been replacing your filters frequently. We also offer some retail programs. So these are basically point of purchase in big box retail stores throughout the city and state, where you can go and get an instant point of purchase discount on CFL and LED light bulbs. These are more energy efficient than your standard kind of Edison incandescent light bulb, so that pigtail, curly Q, or the LED light bulbs, they consume much less energy, and one of the other benefits is they last much, much longer than a standard incandescent light bulb.
Good tips. For more information, there are 2 websites you can check. If you're a New Orleans resident, the website is EnergySmartNOLA.com. And if you're an energy customer outside Orleans Parish, the site is EnergySolutionsLA.com. We'll be back with more, so stay right here.
Mondays at 6 p.m. on WLAE.
We always like to applaud those who are doing well in our community, so we take just a moment now to extend congratulations to New Orleans attorney and former city councilman and criminal justice commissioner James Carter. New Orleans City Business has selected Carter as a 2016 Leadership in Law honoree. In addition to maintaining a national trial practice, James Carter also serves on the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana system. And we want to also give you some more news. UNCF's Mask Ball just happened. The New Orleans Mayor's 2016 Mask Ball was co-hosted this year by First NBC Bank Vice Chairman Charles Teamer and his lovely wife Linda. They brought in the whole organization more than $2 million for the United Negro College Fund. UNCF supports the education of minority students through scholarships and other programs and helps strengthen its 37 member colleges and universities. Xavier and Dillard universities in New Orleans are among those member institutions. UNCF is the nation's largest minority education organization. Well, we're out of time, so that's going to do it for Money Talks for this month. Until next month, do something good for yourself, do something good for someone else. And to remember, it's your money, so make it work for you. I'm your host, Ed Marshall, and until next month, we'll see you.